Third time.
Third try, third, fourth. I don't know how many. Hopefully this works. For anybody that's watched the recording of this, we just tried like 3 other times to get this to go live and just kept having technical difficulties in like every way. So hopefully this works now. If anybody hops in, let us know in the chat. I really just don't want to have this entire conversation and then be like, oh, cool. We had no sound here either. Yeah, we didn't have sound. So that was
maybe I can check it.
that was the first issue. Sorry, I'm just adjusting so you can see a little bit more of us. But yeah, so lots of issues. But hopefully we have figured that out now.
It says upcoming.
It says upcoming. What happens if you click it? Oh, it's going. We have sound. Okay. Can tell that there's sound.
But it's like behind.
Yeah, I think that that's pretty normal.
Oh, wait.
Okay. No, it should be fine. It's a little behind, but it usually is, like, on the live. It's fine.
Oh, but how far behind is it?
It doesn't matter. Okay. Well, finally got that figured out. Anybody, we had multiple people joining us, and then
a 30-second delay.
Then they left. It might be. It's just I can't fix that. Now. Yay! Sorry for anybody who is just joining. Listen, multiple technical difficulties, so I think everything is working now. So yay. This was very impromptu. I was trying to explain this when I thought everything was working, but it's actually my wife and I's wedding anniversary tomorrow. We were out to dinner tonight, and there were a few things that have kind of come up recently in her life that I feel like are significant on this coming out journey. And so I wanted like to have her share and like kind of discuss those with you all because I think it's just sort of all part of the journey, and even I would say us as being very openly out, like in a lot of aspects, still occasionally have some fears and worries and things like that. Oh, thank you. So yeah,
Emily actually has just been wanting me to come on here and bugging me about it, and this is her way of getting me on.
Yeah. Well, it's summer and you're a teacher and you're off school, and I feel like, I mean, not that it really matters, but a lot of times too, she's like, I'm just in a t-shirt, or I'm just like, in shorts and a hoodie, and she's like, I didn't like put on any makeup, and so yeah. And so since we had gone to dinner, I was like, hey, you put on makeup, like you have on, a nicer t-shirt. I was like, can we just do this? And
yeah, what she considers nicer t-shirt.
Well, usually you have like all of your work stuff or like athletic stuff for work, but well, thank you. So yes, so very impromptu. Yeah, I'm all like flustered just with the technical difficulties.
That's
what we're gonna say.
I was saying, lay it out there.
Okay, yeah, I was like, gosh, I don't remember like the point of this was anymore. No, I think I'm good.
We're being comfortable in the workplace.
Yeah, so being comfortable in the workplace, that is a top. So this whole coming out journey, all of this, it's scary and it's intimidating. And then let's just say you finally work up the courage to come out to, a friend. And then you finally work up the courage to come out to, a family member. And you finally work, it's like this constant coming out and courage you have to work up. So
well, like you've probably seen in movies and stuff or other podcasts, it seems like whenever you come out in our situations or, in any sort of coming out situation, you're always coming out in life because people just make assumptions that you're in this, heterosexual relationship, but then they'll say something like, oh, your husband, and then it's always like, oh, no, my wife, or my girlfriend, or what have you. So yeah, it's something you just kind of have to get comfortable with, and we'll even share with each other along this journey. I guess me more so with my coming out journey being more current, even though it's not current anymore, but I like went through it.
Yours was a little more recent.
Mine, yeah,
like
by like a few
bit.
years.
Yeah.
It's like even sometimes I would be upset with myself when I felt comfortable internally and I would come out to people, but then I still, for some reason, my face will get like red whenever I am uncomfortable in a circumstance. I'm like, why is my face getting red? Like I can feel it getting red. It'll probably start getting red right now just because I'm talking and thinking about it. And it was just so frustrating to me that I would constantly have this going on, even though I embraced who I am on the inside. And so we're talking about how that's more normalizing and how we just have these moments now where we say something like my wife or
yeah, just like things come up more casually in conversation, or you just feel. I actually thought of this, which I shared with some people in the weekly like community call, but I'll share it here too. This is funny, and I don't know if I told you about this. It was the other weekend when we were stopping at Dad's liquor store. We were stopping to get like a bottle of wine on the way home.
Lesbian in the liquor store.
Yeah, and these guys, Kara, I see your comment. That's exactly what we're gonna talk about, some of those things. So this whole group of people come walking up this alleyway, and I'll say they looked a little rough.
Where they came from.
Like we have no idea where they came from. Like didn't realize you could even walk down this street they were walking down. I said they were a little rough. Like I was a little nervous how it was gonna be. You could tell they had been like drinking, I think, quite a bit. And, I mean, they're having fun. And then they're like we're walking, getting out of our car and walking in, like right as they're coming around this corner too. And they're like, oh hey, like have a shot with us. We're gonna go in and we're gonna buy a shot and we're gonna, you know, take a drink, and like right there in the liquor store. And we were just like, all right, fine, whatever. So it was the weekend and we were on our way home.
A lot of extra details.
I do have a lot of extra details. Okay. Anyways. But the guy goes, okay, well, here, what do you want? And I pick out something. And he goes, well, what does she want? She's got to be like, you know, like your best friend. You've got to know like what she wants. So this was the point of this story. In some situations like that, and in the past, I would probably have just gone along with that. Like, oh yeah, okay, cool. He thinks that she's like my best friend. No big deal. But I legit just go, well, actually, she's my wife. So yeah, I probably should, know what she wants. And he was just very quickly like, oh, like, okay. Yeah. And it was no big deal, but it's a progression of getting comfortable, because there are absolutely times and moments where I would have been like in years previous where I would have been in that situation and just not said anything because I would have just been too afraid of the reaction or the response that I would get. And at this point I was just like, I don't care. These people came from it doesn't really matter. And I was just did it and didn't think about it, and it was just so much easier. So like I feel like there's definitely a progression and level of comfortability. I don't know if that's a word, but
I think put an extra letter in there. Maybe if you remove the extra letter, it was a word.
But yes, so that was kind of what you were saying, like being in moments where you would feel guarded or unsure or like hold back because you
I was saying even in moments where I didn't feel guarded, where I felt like I could be myself, I felt like I could be open, but still something inside me was still like having this like physical reaction, I guess it would be.
Mm-hmm.
And I've even moved past that. So the reason why Emily decided that, well, she's been trying to get me on this, like I said, but I was talking about like the progression of the beginning of the school year and how, if you watch the video from 2 years ago, I said that it's not so much like the students, because I teach 8th grade, that I would ever be concerned about with my sexuality. It's more so the parents and, how we were raised and how people like adopt like their mentalities and how they feel about whoever. And plus, these kids are with me all the time, and we influence them in many ways, I guess. I just never want anything to be taken a certain way where I cause something. Anyways, so the past few years, it's been like a gradual progression. At the beginning of the year, when we had the one day about us as teachers, we get to introduce who we are as a person. and then the other like 179 are about them. And every, like, I think the first year it was, I just had like a picture and I was just like, and here's my family, but there was no pictures of just me and Emily. And so it's like, take it how you want. And then the next year I had a picture of Emily.
Honestly, that very first year, I don't know. Was it even a picture of me in it with you guys? Or was it like you and your kids, but then maybe like some other pictures thrown into there where you were like,
I don't know.
Okay.
Either way, the first,
yeah, it was definitely
the first year we were dating at the beginning of the school year.
You were very reserved about
yes,
it.
Very reserved. Say. Last year, there was a picture of just like the family, but then also me and Emily. We had like our own separate one, and I said like, this is my family. But then there's more. Oh, okay, this is like her sister or something like that. Mm-hmm. Like they're actually involved.
I almost feel like you put a picture like from our wedding day or something like that. Like that it was
a different day, but yeah.
Okay.
And then I was saying how comfortable I feel this year to just lay it all out there. Like, this is my family, this is my wife. And because I've never had like any issues. Like, even the years that I felt reserved with my students and I'd finally say something, they were like, oh, we know. Mm-hmm. Like, no big deal. Like, they treated me the same from day one. No issues or anything like that. I mean, besides the one in the video that, if you want to watch,
yeah, she had like
2 years ago. That was a parent thing.
Yeah, she had like one parent kind of have an issue, but it was like she didn't make it like a direct issue, like that it wasn't directly I have an issue with the sexuality. She kind of like tiptoed around some things, I guess. But you could kind of tell that it was.
I think it was an issue behind closed doors until I confronted the issue, and then she didn't want to have the conversation with me exactly. Or I think it's just different when you're
backpedaling.
You're going face to face with someone and you're actually talking to the
individual.
The individual.
Yeah, but that was the only issue. Like the only issue that you had. And I want to see somebody ask this question. I don't know if I can bring the chat up. Chat. Okay, so she was asking, how is your school with your sexual orientation? I know people think there's a gay agenda. The real agenda is no one discussing crimes against children, but has that like ever impacted you?
What?
Like just how your school is, like all of that type of stuff. Like, so I talk about this a lot, but for anybody that doesn't know who's watching, we actually live in a more conservative area. We live outside, like in the suburb area of like St. Louis, Missouri. So Missouri is known for more so for being a conservative state, which you would think then there would be a lot of like homophobia and a lot of like anti-gay like movements and things, and being in a public school district that we'd run into issues like that, but you really haven't. Like your admin and all of the people there, like I go up and I see her at work and they all know me. Like I've met her coworkers, I've met admin staff. Like my son is going to middle school this year. You know the principal there. Like I walked in, I introduced myself, I said that I was her wife, and he was like, oh, I love her, she's great. Like we had this whole conversation, and no big deal. Like it hasn't been a big deal at all. And even when you had that like somewhat minor issue, your admin, like your principal, everybody,
I was from like the get-go fully supported. Even with students, there's been like one, I guess, kind of issue in the past with a student who was at the beginning of the year like really testing the boundaries, and I did have to
like kind of making some.
I had to say
comments.
I guess this was after that video. I had. He like wouldn't accept saying my new last name.
Oh, because it was after we got married and your name had changed.
Yes.
And he was like,
it hadn't changed.
It wasn't
in my email. And so he like wouldn't say it, and then he wouldn't say my new last name, and there was like a few other like weird things I don't even remember, because by the end of the school year he loves me. He wrote me like a letter this year, even like saying how much he appreciated me. So it's like how things change, like we just being ourselves and not it doesn't matter,
not hiding yourself just to make other people comfortable. Like You could have been like, oh, okay, it's fine. You can call me whatever you, because you didn't want to like ruffle feathers, but you still stuck by like, no, this is my name. Like, this is what you need to call me. And I
mean,
know.
I wouldn't say I was like aggressive at
no,
all.
yeah, you weren't.
But it's
you just didn't
just
like
showing up, just being human.
Yeah.
And then its sexuality doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, I hope that answered that question that was there. Like, no. Okay, glad to hear that experience is mostly good. Thank you for sharing your stories. Oh, thank you. Yeah, you know, and like even when I went through this, because my background is that I'm an occupational therapist and I've worked with kids, and the job that I have was going into homes working with kids and their families. And so when I talked about this in other videos, but when I first came out, or you know, was on this journey, I was very scared to openly express my sexuality to like parents and these kids, because I didn't want them thinking, you know, oh gosh, now I have this like lesbian working with my child and I don't want that in my house or anything like that. But again, I haven't had a single problem. You know, I slowly got more comfortable. I openly talk about my wife in homes. I mean, and I work with people of a variety of backgrounds and cultures and all types of things, and no one has had an issue. You know, I've kind of adopted the mindset too that if they do have an issue, then they can just get a new provider and I won't see them. You know, it's that simple. But I haven't had a single person say anything. And now I've also reached the point where I do openly say like my wife or things like that. And in conversation with parents, you know, you get close to families. I mean, there's been some families that have asked more details and wanted to know, or you know, I've just talked some more about my life and shared. And I've had families even go, oh, like my sister went through that, or I had a coworker that actually like went through that same thing. So I feel like talking about it and like bringing the awareness to sort of normalizing these conversations all of a sudden too brings other people, like it creates this safe space where they're like, oh, I can share this too, or oh, I know somebody that went through that, and it makes it less of this like big deal. So which kind of leads into the other point that I really wanted Michelle to share, because back to work.
Okay, pause you real quick.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay, sorry.
I was also going to say with the safe space thing, it's just been great in my career field that there are like some students that like feel safer just like talking to me about their relationships and stuff. Not that I ever like promote talking about any sort of relationships or advice or anything, but it's like nice to, like Emily said, to normalize it so they can see, oh, like
this person's living a perfectly fine life. This is my teacher. That's her family. Like, no big deal.
Yeah. Just like that teacher across the hall. Just like that teacher over there.
Like, just like that teacher talks about their husband, or, no big deal. So.
Oh, yeah. And then she'll come up, like she said. And then they're like, is that your wife?
Yeah. They do. A lot of them end up like knowing me because I'll often go out for lunch, and then they'll be like,
let's just see them whenever they're like walking down the hall to their own lunch.
Yeah, they get very excited to see me too. It's very cute. So, okay, yeah, keep going.
Yes.
Okay, so other topic is along the lines of work and all of that, and you have had some back to school stuff like prepping for like this new school year and like some orientation trainings things for like new hires. And you were at one, where you said something about me, but so kind of talk about that. Like the conversation came up in like,
yeah, it was just like the transition time before the class that I was teaching with another teacher, former teacher, coach, staff member, was going to happen. And there was also another administrator, I guess, in there. And they all know my life. We like follow each other on social media or run into each other in public. And we were just like talking about, I think it was the math conference or something maybe. And they were even like bringing up stuff like, oh yeah, your wife, like they like other people are just having these conversations and bringing it up so like casually,
nonchalant,
but then also this is in front of all these new people that haven't even had day one in the district yet, and I'm about to like teach them, And yeah, it's all being normalized where people feel like that even they can say it to me in front of other people. So
And it's not weird. It's
yeah,
not like
it
like yeah, the
just
way you told
flows.
me. Yeah, it would be like the exact same equivalent of they were like, oh yeah, did your husband, which seems more of the norm, the societal norm, but the conversations and how you related was they were talking about it in the same manner and saying your wife just as freely, easily, without any type of
yeah, they didn't try to watch out. They could have said like,
yeah,
oh, what did Emily think about that?
mm-hmm.
And then no one would know who was Emily.
Yeah, yeah. But then it's just like, well, too, like you said, it was in front of other new hires that don't know you. But then here they are sort of immersed in this experience where they hear this in such a normal, casual, easygoing way. And it's just all these steps that takes to just normalizing this and making it be like no big deal.
Mm-hmm.
But like how far you come, it's hard to be at that point right away. That's my goal with all this. Like I hope one day we live in a world where conversations about sexuality and my wife or my partner or whatever it is flow just as easily and freely as the heterosexual like couple dynamic. But it's amazing because by us, I feel like being our true selves and opening up and us talking about it in such a normal, nonchalant way also has made like these other people feel completely comfortable with that. And then it's these conversations set this example and really help just normalize this.
Mm-hmm. So. We even ran into one of them at the baseball game. This is actually one of them that was in the same meeting. Oh. And as we're sitting there, we were in front of them in the stands, and I got a random text message from her, and she'd like taken a picture of us and said like, "Aren't you two so cute?"
Yeah. So I like I said, we can kind of wrap this up too. I don't know if there's any other things that we want to talk about, but
there's talking.
It would be much easier if they would talk like that about it. Yeah, like that every day. Mm-hmm. A person went to a hypnotherapist after I came out. The text is going away. The closet deal with the stress, and they help me so much. No, I haven't been. So asking if either of us have been hypnotized. Never been hypnotized. It definitely was just like a progression of comfort. So something that I often recommend for people is to start in like comfortable places, like somebody that will be accepting, and then kind of like build your confidence. It's sort of the more you do it, the more you put yourself out there, and I feel like have those positive experiences. Of course, it then builds your confidence because it's kind of like, oh, well, I told this person and it was totally fine, and then you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna tell this person, and oh, that was totally fine,
I'm in a place at work where I don't even have to tell people anymore.
Yeah. Probably somebody else has already said, oh, yeah, that's Michelle and her wife. Yeah, they probably talk about it for you. So.
She's the gay one.
But again, it's, some people would even be offended by that, but we're like, no, I don't care. Yeah, we are the gay, like, she's the blonde one. I'm the, brunette, and she has brown eyes. It's kind of one of those terms that we've just gotten accustomed to being like, yeah, it is one of the ways you would describe us, like out of a group of people. It's who we are, and we don't have an issue with that. So.
Oh, my work wife might though.
Oh yeah, your work wife.
Don't talk about you.
That's so funny. That's a funny thing. So one of her students thought that another one of the staff members was her wife rather than yeah. So that was funny. Now it's an ongoing joke. That's her work wife.
But should shout out, hi Pookie, hi.
She watches it. I don't know. We'll have to tell her she needs to watch it now.
Gina's probably doing a shout out to parent.
Yeah. I had some like good point to wrap up, but now I don't remember what it was. You're shedding like crazy.
That sounds like me.
Yeah. So I guess. Oh, to answer the question about being hypnotized, that was the question that we got off topic. No, neither of us have ever been hypnotized. The stress is definitely for real. Like I said, I mean, I think you had stress. You definitely were much more anxious your first like year or so of teaching after we were together to talk about it. I was definitely anxious and kind of stressed about how that was going to go with my job. But yeah, those small little steps. And then something else that I've actually used, which is interesting. I am certified in mind shifting. It's another sort of method and technique that can help people overcome some of like those fears and worries and insecurities and get to sort of like feeling more comfortable within themselves. So I've done a lot of that on myself, and not so much for like this stuff. I feel like at this point we have reached that point of being pretty confident that we're really not worried. I know. So, but yeah, I think it's definitely important to have some help and support as you go through these steps, because it's scary. It's definitely scary, can absolutely be stressful. Um, but just to kind of demonstrate that there is a progression and you do reach a point where you are comfortable, and it's normal to, be scared in the beginning. Yeah, anything else you would add with that, or? You're just nodding. I just know if you had anything else to say. So
just agreeing with you.
Yeah.
I feel like it was like exponential with math terms here. Exponential like comfort factor. It's like you sit here and you're kind of, concerned. And it's like as soon as you start like coming out and you have opportunities, you have choices. Someone will say something and you could say like, oh, my girlfriend, or like, what are you doing this week? And you could be like, oh, my girlfriend and I, or you could say, oh, some friends and I. Like you have those choices, and once you start making the choices to like be truthful,
yeah,
and you keep making those choices, it's like eventually it's like everything just escalates until you're like fine. Like I feel like it really was this slow pace in the beginning of wondering based off of what situation you're in, which group of individuals you're with, like how it was going to be treated. But then it's like it all kind of came together and took off. And then now I just feel like I can kind of say,
yeah, whatever.
And did I ever tell him the story about my first day of school last year? Maybe that's how we should end.
Oh my gosh, we should. Okay, this is a great story. So for anybody watching, this is a great story. We'll end on this. It's so super cute. I do want to add before you tell this that if you are, I mentioned that I'm certified in mind shifting, which is, a method that can help work through this. But if you don't know, I do also run a community for women on this journey and offer one-on-one sessions and support. So if you are interested or needing help and guidance with that, there are links below that you can check out and get some of that support and that guidance. And, the community, you are in a community of all women going through this. And I'm active in there to offer like that additional support and guidance. You kind of have then that team behind you. Like I said, you come out in safe spaces and where you're comfortable and talk more freely about who you are, and builds that confidence. So if you're looking for that, there are links below this video with more information on that. Okay, so this is a funny story. Her first day last year. This is super cute.
It went like around the building before I could even put it around the building. You gonna read that first? Or want me to just go for it?
No, I was just reading that. So they just commented, said recommend hypnosis because it was very helpful. And then what we're saying is very true about needing a safe space to relax and become yourself. So yeah,
okay.
That's
story.
Okay.
So on the very first day of school, I have like how I said, my slides, and it has like the pictures in it. And a student raises his hand and he's like, Miss Bettdur, do you have a husband?
Should we disclose that this?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
He's in my co-talk class.
I don't think anybody's gonna know what that means.
There's 2 teachers instead of 1.
Yeah.
Anyways, he asked, do you have a husband? I said, no. And he's like, do you have a wife? And I was like, yes. And he's asked, how does someone find a wife?
No, didn't he say how does a woman find a wife?
Like how does a woman find a wife? And so my response was, Bumble. And then I laughed to myself because I do that all the time. And I'm sure the kids are like, oh. Actually, as soon as like he started asking questions, the students I feel like know at the beginning of school year. I think it's just one of those things that they're like, "What team are you? You know, that's a great team, and this is the personality of the teachers, and you know, like we
You're
said,
the gay one, yeah.
But yeah, so they got kind of quiet whenever he was asking these questions. But yeah, I did. I said Bumble, and then I was like, "No, just kidding." I was like, well, "How do you know?" But,
I think you did eventually. Didn't
just...
you tell me that you were like, no, you know, like,
oh yeah, I was like the
way...
same way that you would find a husband. That's what I said. I was like in the same way that a woman would find a husband. But yeah, I totally said Bumble.
And was he just like, okay, like, yeah?
He definitely would not know what that is. I don't even know if half the kids would.
Probably not. Shout out to Bumble though. You know, if yeah.
I'm sure they're paying attention.
Yeah, Bumble's paying attention. But yes, that's how we met. You never know.
The girl talks first.
Yep. But yes, so that's our funny story that we wrapped up. I did see one more comment about asking if this will be available as a replay. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's it. So thank you guys for watching. Again, check the links below this video if you need extra support on your journeys. Like and subscribe if you want to be notified of any new videos and content I post. I do release other videos. I don't always go live, but sometimes try to. And it's nice to have her. You know, we both went through this journey. I more so specialize in it now, but it's very nice to just have people that understand it. Like, even being with somebody who went through this is really helpful because she gets it, and we can talk through some of these things together, and even helps me with creating the supports and resources for you all. Like, just having her on here to talk about this, because I feel like it was significant, like another significant step, like in your own journey, to just so like nonchalantly have these conversations. So yeah. Yep. But all right, everyone, thank you so much for watching, and see you next time. Oh yeah. Lesbian salute.